Welcome to the Korean 101 Learning Module 2. In this video, we are going to learn about the subjective particles 은 and 는. For both English and Korean sentences, the subject of the sentence usually comes in the beginning, but in English, you do not mark it with a particle. Let's look at an English sentence example. I am a student. I is the subject of the sentence and it's not marked with anything. Let's look at the Korean sentence that has the same meaning. 저는 학생이에요. In this sentence, 저 is the subject of the sentence, which means I. But in Korean sentence, 저, which is the subject, is marked with 는, which is the subjective particle. In Korean sentences, you must mark the subject of the sentence with subjective particles. If you miss them, your sentence wouldn't sound natural. For example, in the previous sentence, we had 저는 학생이에요. If you miss 는 after 저, it sounds like 저 학생이에요, and it does not sound natural. There are 4 general subjective particles in total, and we'll learn about 2 of them, 은 and 는. Okay, you may get that you have to use the subjective particles in a sentence, but how do I know when to use 은 or 는? First, find the subject of the sentence. Second, find out if the last character has a third consonant. If there is a third consonant, use 은. If there is none, then use 는. Let's take a look at some examples. Here's an English sentence. I'll give you some time to translate it in your head. Here is incomplete sentence of I am Canadian. I as 저, Canadian as 캐나다 사람, am as in 이에요. But this sentence is missing a subjective particle. How do we know how to use 은 or 는 after 저? 저 does not have a third consonant of the bottom of its character, so it goes with 는. So the final sentence reads, 저는 캐나다 사람이에요. Let's look at another example. Rachel is Korean. I'll give you some time to translate the sentence in Korean in your head. So I have Rachel as a subject of my sentence and 한국 사람 as Korean, 이에요 as is. But this sentence is missing a subjective particle. Which subjective particle do you need? 은 or 는? If you chose 은, that's the right choice. Rachel is the subject. 체 has a third consonant. So 은 is the subjective particle that you want to choose. So the whole sentence reads, 레이첼은 한국 사람이에요. Even if you do not know the meaning of the word, you can still choose the appropriate subjective particle if you follow the third consonant rule. Now it's your turn to try. Follow the third consonant rule to choose the appropriate subjective particle. Your first sentence is 지수 is an engineer. Here is a sentence without the subjective particle. Which subjective particle do you need? 은 or 는? That's right. 지수는 engineer예요. Here comes your second sentence. David is an employee. Here is a sentence without the subjective particle. Which subjective particle does it need? 은 or 는? Good job. 데이비드는 회사원이에요. Here comes your last one. Jimin is a singer. Here is a sentence without the subjective particle. Which one do we need? 은 or 는? Perfect. 지민은 가수예요. Good job completing all the quizzes, everyone. Remember, you have to use subjective particles in Korean sentences. 은 or 는. Don't forget them. Congratulations! You can proceed to the next step.